time for Big D Energy with four-time Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the golden voice of Neil Rule. Live on the Woodward Sports Network, 99.1 and 93.5 The Roar, the Woodward Sports app, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Big D Energy here on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule, here today, as always, on a Monday with Detroit sports media icon Terry Foster. We got Sam in the sound booth, Sawyer, a very disheveled Sawyer.
Yeah, I was going to ask, I have a critical question for you. Now, are we supposed to celebrate a great NFL season today? Or are we in mourning wearing black because Sawyer's Colts screwed things up and created mayhem last night?
There's a ton of questions, Terry, that we have to answer as far as the NFL season goes. The Lions beat Green Bay. Sawyer's Colts lose. The Jaguars win, but because the Lions win, they miss out on the number one overall draft pick. I'm not as mad as you might think I am. We'll talk a little college football. The national championship game is tonight, Terry. We won't spend a ton of time on that because I know in these parts, the second Michigan bowed out, the interest died.
Not for me.
Me neither.
I want to see good football in the national championship game.
And you will see good football because, yes, Terry, it might be easier to win the national title than it is to win the SEC. Think about that for a minute.
It is, because the SEC, you got to go through all of the SEC champion competition. Then you got to beat Georgia or Alabama. In the national championship, all you got to do is beat Alabama or Georgia. You don't have to go through all the other BS.
Right.
So it is.
that is the case. But we'll get into all that. The Pistons made a trade as well over the weekend. We'll discuss that coming up in the second hour. All right, you guys know the deal too. Story time with Terry Foster coming up towards the end of the show. And Tev Sauce too on our YouTube chat thread. You can tap in. If you're watching on YouTube, you see that little chat thread that's going. That thing's moving constantly throughout the show. We keep tabs on that, and that's where we are. John Suba says, let's go Cardinals. Give me that second first-round pick in the early 20s. We'll discuss that. The NFL playoff picture's ready to roll. We are ready to go. Tev Sauce, too. Neil was punching holes in the wall last night. I wasn't as mad as you guys think I would be. I wasn't mad.
You have no reason to be mad.
I wasn't mad. I was disappointed, Terry.
God.
I was disappointed. I wasn't mad. But we'll discuss. But there is something I am mad about, Terry, and we won't spend a ton of time on this. But this weekend, Terry, yesterday, I did my services at the Oakland game, another big win for the Golden Grizzlies.
I saw that.
They're 5-0
indeed.
in Horizon League play. They've had a 20-point lead in every Horizon League game they've played this year. Can you imagine if Michigan or Michigan State had a 20-point lead in every Big Ten game they played and they were 5-0?
Okay, are they going to win the Horizon this year? Hello?
Well, we going to see, as
are they
Drake
going to go
would
to
say.
the tournament?
Yeah,
Hello?
we going to see. Those are the questions, but I'm not bringing that up right now more so as I had to go grocery shopping after the game. I got the list and everything. I walk out of the grocery store, and the winds kick in, and my hands start burning, my face starts burning. Terry, this is that week where I can't take living here, man. When you walk outside and your face starts burning and your hands are burning, I start going throughout my family lineage and wonder why I'm here. I can't stand it.
This place is uninhabitable sometimes.
Yeah.
If it really, because if you were outside of your house for a certain amount of time, you die. You might as well be living on the moon. If we lived on the moon, eventually we would die. If you were outside of your house in Detroit, at some point you would die.
And that's my problem, too, where when it's so cold that you can die outside, I have a problem. And I wonder why I'm here. And I start going back through my family lineage. And just a quick background. My grandparents lived in the South. They came up here to work in the car factories, like a ton of people, I'm sure, that live here.
So if there's no factories, there's no Neil.
Probably not, at least not here.
Yeah. We live in spots that we're not sometimes thrilled about because of family and jobs.
And that's what it is.
So it's money.
And that's
money
what it
is why you're here.
No, and that is true. And I had a job offer in Fort Lauderdale, Miami that it hurt my soul to turn down. I wanted to take it, but didn't. And every time, we played down in Fort Myers in a tournament for basketball right around Thanksgiving time. And every time I'm down there, it's 81, it's sunny, there's cars, there's houses, there's stores, there's jobs. I wonder, why am I here? And that really comes through on a night like last night when that wind is kicking and my skin's burning because it's so cold.
Yeah, but you know what? There's gators down there and sharks in the water. You could die. I mean, everything has an occupational hazard.
Yeah. AC says, I came from Bangladesh, so Michigan weather is hell for me. And that's what I feel like. And Terry, why is this? The older I get, and I mean by the day, the more I hate it here. Weather-wise. It is a great climate most of the time, except from like December through February. And we're pretty safe here. No hurricanes, earthquakes. If we do get an earthquake, we get an occasional very light one.
I've felt some tremors before.
Yeah, we get very light ones. But the winter bothers me more and more as I get older. And that's just being an old guy, right?
Yeah, it is. Because when we're younger, like, for instance, when I was young, 25 degrees meant nothing to me. I'd go out sometimes to get the mail with no shoes on. Now I can't do that. But I think our body changes, and also we realize at a later age we don't have to do this if we don't want to. But at a younger age, you got the job, you got your women up here, you got your family, so you just deal with it. And plus, we're better equipped to deal with inclement weather. It's like Sawyer and they don't care. They just go out there and like, yeah, it's cold, but so what? Now we're like, oh shoot, damn.
No, and that's how I get. And Ryan Zarzaki on a YouTube chat thread says you can always add clothes, but can only take off so much. He says, I'm so tired of people crying about the weather. No, and look, normally I don't. It's when I get that week, and there'll be another week, I'm sure, at least one more week, maybe two, where when that wind kicks up, your skin burns. I got an issue with that.
Yeah, but we're lucky this year. We don't have the polar vortex or whatever that damn thing was. It hit us two winters ago.
Yeah.
For 2 winters in a row.
Where temperatures were below zero.
And the thing just sat above us for like a week and like, hey, screw you guys. I'm here. Deal with me.
Yeah. Big Play Jay. I hate the winter, especially as a mail carrier. Hey, salute to you, Big Play Jay. People don't recognize that as well. Garbage men, delivery drivers, mail carriers, stuff like that. They're out in this, Terry.
Yeah, but our mail carriers are luckier than mine. When I was a kid, they used to have that little cart and they would push it through the neighborhood. Now, at least in my neighborhood, they're in the truck and they don't have to get out. The guys, I feel sorry for the garbage guys.
Right.
I try to put my garbage as close together as possible, as far out on the curb as possible. Maybe that'll save them a couple seconds out in the weather. But, I feel sorry for them because the guy that has to ride on the side of the truck, he's freezing his ass off.
Right. D. Smitty says at least it's not like Chicago weather. And then that wind. And here's the thing. Here's what it boils down to. I don't like the wind. I don't like it in the summer when I'm playing golf. I don't like it in the winter when it makes it feel 20 degrees colder than what it is and it burns your skin. And obviously Chicago has that a lot worse than everybody else. Maddie Go Blue, Michigan overall has the worst weather. We got the hottest, most humid summers and the coldest winters.
You know what? I must disagree. As far as winter, Chicago is much worse. And have you been to Minneapolis in the winter?
Yeah, not in the winter.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's so cold there. They interconnect the building, so you don't have to walk outside.
Right, and if you have a mustache, you're gonna have ice and snow on it.
Yeah, AC says
it's ugly.
AC says wind is the worst part. 2-track Jack. Fun fact: our climate is comparable to Moscow. And when you start putting in those numbers, man, it gets real and it hits home.
Yeah, but again, I don't want to go back to the polar vortex. It was colder in Michigan than it was in Alaska. For 2 winters in a row. Now, want to go back to Chicago. My lovely daughter now lives in Chicago. She was begging me, Dad, you got to go to Carhartt. I need, she never wears stocking caps because she wants to look cute. She wants to have her cute boots and she wants to look nice for some fellas. She said, get me the stocking caps because it is so damn cold here.
Ryan says Kansas winter is brutal as well. Tammy Chin, I think Minneapolis has it far worse than Michigan. It always amazes me, too, where this audience of this show, Terry, California, Florida, Kansas, I mean, people are everywhere, man.
Of course. It's because of you.
No, that's
people love you, and they're willing to latch on no matter where they are.
that's Terry Foster, Detroit sports media icon. Big Play Jay. Do you have the nerve to say cold enough for you? No, I'm never gonna run. I'm never gonna run that. Hey, is it cold enough for you? Ha ha. No, we're not doing that. Plain states, terrible winters and tornadoes. And look, don't get me wrong. For 9 months out of the year, it is pretty good here. It is. Like we don't have all those threats like I talked about.
Well, how about that tornado that just went 250 miles? It's like, I'm just going to destroy the whole state of Kentucky.
Yeah, right. We don't get things like that here.
Right.
You don't see a lot of tornadoes, obviously, no hurricanes and stuff like that. And I will say here, where we are in southeastern Michigan, we don't get pounded with snow the way Grand Rapids does over on the west side of the state.
We used to.
Yeah, what changed? Is that global warming or whatever? I'm not a scientist, so I don't know.
It's climate change. I don't know what's going on. But, yeah, we used to, I remember when I think I was a sophomore at CMU, we got so much snow that, first of all, it closed the school down for the first time ever. And we were jumping off the third-floor balcony into these big snowbanks and only had one broken ankle. That was it.
That's a pretty good ratio right there.
It was, but even now it's cold. But see, here's the thing. There's a lot of people that want to go skiing, and they can't go skiing. It's cold, but you can't go skiing.
Right. Well, that's what those people deserve for doing outdoor winter activities.
Yeah, but skiing, and I'm not a skier, but it looks like it's fun. If you know how to ski, that's got to be a blast.
You do, Sawyer. You're a resident ski expert, correct?
Yeah, I went snowboarding this weekend.
You went snowboarding this weekend.
Yep.
Okay. Is it that fun to be outside when it's that cold? Be real.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I did, but I lived in Switzerland though, so I learned to ski in the Alps.
Oh,
so
damn!
I just love skiing.
Excuse me. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Oh, he just ascended over all of us right now.
My dad had to move there for Chrysler stuff. So I was just a little kid.
You know what?
With it.
I make fun of this guy being elitist. Oh yes, you have nice ski slopes here. They're very cute. But I ski in Switzerland.
Yeah. I winter in the European Alps.
Oh yeah.
No, I've been there once. I went through the Swiss Alps on a train. I didn't
beautiful.
get out the train though.
No, because it's cold as hell outside.
No, it wasn't even that cold, bro.
Is it true? Is like it's not that cold?
I mean, I'd say it's kind of like Michigan-ish, not as humid though, because you're up in the
cold,
mountains.
But you're not going, damn, shoot.
Mm-hmm. And
I didn't go into the
up.
mountains. I was in this town called Bern.
Okay.
So I went through there, and I was in Lausanne and Bern, and then I took a train. I wanted to see the Swiss Alps since I'm there. I have to see them. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah,
You're still a snoot for saying, I used to vacation in the Swiss Alps. That's where I skied.
I lived in Europe, and the way you guys do things here. Well, look, I had a great question here for Sawyer that I forget who it was. Was Joey 2 times said, I'm the white guy in basketball shorts all winter. And I was going to ask Sawyer if he rocks the basketball shorts in the winter, but no, if he lived in Switzerland, there's no way he would do that.
No, I tried that in middle school. Mom cut that one down real quick.
Yeah.
Then I was like, it's actually kind of smart. My legs were cold, so.
Our Caucasian friends intrigue me sometimes. I saw a guy the other day. He's rocking the basketball shorts. And he's just walking around like it's 80 degrees. My man's just so proud. And I'm like, damn, you're making me cold just by looking at you.
Oh, look, ask and you shall receive. Nick Tupin says, I'm a scientist. It's definitely climate change, but also in places with large urban development, there's a lot of concrete. The concrete retains heat and creates a heat island, which can affect winter weather patterns.
I didn't know that.
Makes sense. I mean,
I know it makes the summer in the city hotter. I didn't know it pertained to the winter.
Right, absolutely. Canuck Duke says, Sawyer is a Woodward Sports Network's most interesting man. I agree.
Mm-hmm. He's Jon Snow.
I 100% agree with that. Like, low-key, Sawyer's never going to volunteer information. You can only discover information. And how about this? I had no idea he lived in Switzerland. I knew he was a snowboarder and stuff like that. And, but I never knew he was a international man of travel.
Yeah, I was going to say, hey, Sawyer, how was was it Pine Knob or Mount Brighton?
Yeah, Mount Holly.
Yeah, Mount Holly. Oh, you probably haven't been to those places because I ski in Switzerland.
Oh no, I
That's
like
way beneath you.
I've been to Mount Brighton.
You would never go to Pine Knob and go skiing. Or snowboarding. There's no way he would lower himself to that.
No, it wouldn't.
No way.
Why? What do you mean? I've been to Mount Brighton. I haven't been to Pine Knob yet.
You know
See,
what you
and
do?
past
You know
that
what you do?
door, will
You know what
you?
you do at Mount Brighton? You stand at the bottom of the ski slope making fun of people and says, "Oh, this is your skiing? This is not skiing. This is just like rolling down a little hill. This is like going down one of those garbage."
In Switzerland, we would never ski or snowboard on this hill.
Right.
Ha, ha, ha.
We have special skis in Switzerland.
Yes.
Jake Wegener, is there a big Settlers of Catan community in Switzerland?
Probably. I mean, the game is made by some German guy, so
So
I'd
it
assume
probably is.
Yeah.
All right, guys, look. You guys know this. We got to set up the Terry story time with Uncle Terry to poll, by the way. So give us two choice. Think about the two choices.
I already have them.
at the break, and when we come back, we'll get that poll up and running. We will talk Lions as well. And if you had the Lions on the money line at mybookie.ag yesterday, maybe parlayed that with Jacksonville money line, you won a lot of money. And you could do it at mybookie.ag because they'll double your first deposit all the way up to $1,000 with the promo code Woodward. Jump in. The NFL playoffs are here. We'll go and take a look at the matchups a little bit later on. National championship game tonight. There is time. Do it right now. Go to mybookie.ag. They'll double your first deposit with the promo code Woodward. You can withdraw. You can deposit in cryptocurrency as well, Bitcoin, however you want to do it. Mybookie.ag has you covered. Now, look, I'm telling you about the deposit bonuses and all the things you can bet on and all that stuff. Here's what's really going to end up mattering to you. And I know that we don't think about it right away when we're thinking about a sports betting company that we want to go through. The interface is clean. The numbers are easy to read. It's quick. You can navigate everything. That's what's most important, as you'll find out. But go to mybookie.ag, get double your first deposit with the promo code Woodward. Jump in. National championship game tonight. All SEC affair. Last I looked on mybookie.ag. Georgia, a 2.5-point favorite. So do the thing. Double that first deposit, promo code Woodward. Get that action in and bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Have a problem with gambling? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline, 1-800-270-7117.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Off and running, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule, Detroit sports media icon. Terry Foster here with us on a Monday. D-Mac, Darren McCarty, will be back in the mix later on this week. We have Sam in the sound booth. We have Sawyer in the production booth as well. Lots of people talking about skiing and everything like that. Sawyer, who lived in Switzerland, come to find out, he's upper class, and we understand that. That's fine. He might be too high class for us, Sawyer.
Yeah, I don't know.
He is. Now, are you a surfer?
Like snowboarding, or
No,
actually
surfer,
go to
like,
California
in the
and surf?
ocean.
Oh, no.
Okay, because I was going to say, I only surf in Hawaii.
The wave tubes are the only ones that are up to my standards. We are going to talk Detroit Lions, their win over the Green Bay Packers. Black Monday in the NFL as well. Lots of coaches now unemployed, some very predictably, some not so predictably. We'll go around the NFL. I got a critical question about what the hell are the Raiders doing kicking that field goal last night. We will discuss it all. But, Terry, before we get into this Lions thing, we do have to set up the YouTube poll. Very popular, world-renowned YouTube poll. Story time with Terry Foster coming up towards the end of the second hour of the show. What are the two choices here today, Terry?
Two choices in recognition of the Pistons trade for Bol Bol. One of them is my interaction with Charles Barkley as he made fun of Manute Bol Bol's dad, for 15 minutes, and he focused just on his feet, and we were cracking up. This is when they were teammates in Phoenix. Charles Barkley is one of the funniest guys, and I got to know him a little bit, and I got to hang out with him a little bit. But I was interviewing him in Phoenix, and he said, "Excuse me, watch this," and he just latched on to Manute Bol's feet. And he talked about him on and on and on.
Who was 7'7", by the way, for those that don't know.
And so that's one. The second one is how I almost lost my life at the Summer Olympic Games.
So there you have it. Sawyer is getting that YouTube poll up right now. You guys can vote, I would guess, within a minute. So that will be up. So if you're watching on the YouTube channel, tap into that YouTube chat thread, make your voice heard, get your vote in, and we'll see which way Storytime with Terry Foster will go down. So the Lions get the win over the Green Bay Packers, and there's a lot to unpack from that game. And I know, just based on the tweets I got from you guys yesterday, right when the game ended, I'll just go ahead, Terry, and let everybody know I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
You're
I'm
mad.
not mad.
I can
not
see
mad.
in your face.
Oh, here we go again. Terry's going to be making up a narrative here. No, I'm not mad. I'm disappointed because, as it turns out, the Jacksonville Jaguars dominated Sawyer's Colts, which we'll get into that as well. It opened up the door for the Lions to regain that number 1 overall pick, but they go down, they get a touchdown, then get a Jordan Love interception to seal the win, and they beat the Packers 37-30. They finished the season 3-13-1. And no, Terry, I'm not mad about the draft thing. I am disappointed. I'm disappointed to see that go down the way it did. But I told you, Terry, once they locked in the number 2 overall pick, and if it weren't Jacksonville that had the number 1, and there weren't the possibility of them taking an offensive lineman, I think a strong possibility of them taking an offensive lineman, then I would probably be more upset. But I think I'm all right, Terry.
Why are you upset at all? Why do
I'm
you
not. I'm
care?
disappointed.
Because the Lions are going to get who they want, right?
Which,
they're going to
that's
get
fine.
Thibodeau or Hutchinson.
Right.
Whether they get 1 or 2, they're going to pick one of those 2 guys. Even if they had the 3rd pick, they would get one of those 2 guys. Maybe not the one they want, but they would get. But number 2, it's like being number 1.
It is like, in this situation.
Okay, you're taking offensive lineman. Cool. We already got our guy. We got Penei Sewell, and now we're going to get Hutchinson or Thibodeau. So it's as if they have the number 1 pick, because Jacksonville doesn't even want who the Lions want. And there's no surefire quarterback up there that everybody wants. So this is
right now, as we sit now. That's going to change, Terry. I'm telling you.
Stop it.
Okay.
The Lions, usually in situations like this, the Lions get screwed, and you know they're going to get screwed. But maybe things are changing in Allen Park. The Lions didn't get the number 1 pick, but they're going to get the first pick of all the players that they actually want.
Which is fair.
Which is like having them. So the Lions, for a change, maybe Lady Luck is saying, okay, you're on our side now.
PG Ill 61 on YouTube chat thread says, Neil, the Jags are going to take a left tackle, so the Lions will have their choice at number 2. Which feeds into my not anger. I'm not angry. I'm not, because of that possibility. That's a strong possibility, and that's fine. I'm just more so disappointed. Again, for me, and I'm finding out that maybe it's a character flaw, which we'll discuss further when we go around the NFL. And I try to figure out what the hell the Raiders were doing last night, putting themselves at risk like that. But we'll discuss this later. Terry, am I too analytical for my own good? Be real with me.
Yeah, there is
Help
something wrong with you.
Okay.
Yes, there is.
Hey, I can take it, Terry.
and
I'm a grown man. I can take it.
You want to be upset just to be upset. There's people
No, I'm
like
not
that.
upset, Terry.
Oh,
I'm
you're
disappointed.
What the hell's the difference?
I'm disappointed because I'm not angry about it because of, again, going back to it, because of the Jaguars situation.
Okay, but there's something going wrong in your life today because of what happened with Jacksonville and the Lions, right?
Wrong.
It's like your day would be perfect if the Lions had lost.
No, Terry, that's not the case. It's been a good day so far.
Yeah, but
my son actually got up this morning. I didn't have to battle with him like I usually do.
But you're still salty
so that was
today.
good. There was no traffic. Got a good workout in this morning. Had a very good chicken Caesar pita for lunch before the show. Some coffee, some great conversation with my workmates here at Woodward Sports. Get to hang out with you today, do a show with Terry Foster. I ain't got no worries. To quote Lil Wayne, I ain't got no worries.
No, you have lots going on in your life today, which is good, but you still got a little salt in you. It's because of the stupid Jaguars and Lions. It's just, it's not, oh, I'm mad today, damn it, whatever, but you still got a little salt that's not jiving with
Terry,
you.
see, you media people always try to drum up your stories. Chris Knu says still got 3 picks inside the first 33. And that is my point about it, too. That softens the blow. It's not like they slid to 5th. And somebody said in the YouTube chat thread, they said, Neil, and look at this, by the way, too. Boom, we're halfway home, guys. See? We're halfway home. This is the draft year. Next year's clean up the cap year, and then we ride.
All right, let me ask you a question. With the number 1 pick in the draft, who do you think the Lions would pick?
Some edge rusher. One of the 2 edge rushers, which they'll still have the opportunity to do so.
Okay, now the number 2 pick, who do you think the Lions are going to pick?
Granted, if they're both available, they'll still have their choice of an edge rusher, if they're both available.
Which they will be.
Okay.
So nothing changes.
Nothing changes. Right.
Except a 1 or 2.
Somebody else on the YouTube chat thread, too, said that the number 2 pick is a little more tradable than the number 1 pick, which I don't subscribe to that theory, that the pick is as tradable as you want it to be.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, that's where it is, and that's where it comes back for me. I just want the most valuable commodity. Again, the second you can't go to the playoffs, you're penalized for winning. You guys can say whatever you want. You can attach emotion to it, whatever you want. That is a mathematical fact, Terry. The second you can't make the playoffs, you're then penalized for winning after that.
That's true.
Okay,
because the theory in the NFL is if you are good enough to go to the Super Bowl, good enough to advance in the playoffs, then the NFL is going to punish you, whether through financials, whether through the draft. So they're trying to get all these teams at 8-8.
I like it. Robert says, Neil's like me in college when I lived in the Bay Area. Giants fans, and my day revolved around if the Giants lost, LOL. No, like I'm not. Once they locked up number 2, I told you guys this. Once they locked up number 2, I was cool. I would prefer to have number 1 because it's a more valuable commodity than number 2. Again, that's not me thinking. That's math. That's mathematically accurate. But still, like I'm just disappointed to where. But again, bottom line, you got, as somebody else said, you got 3 of the top 33, Terry, and I'm down to roll with that. Now, it won't happen this way, but I would love to see the Cardinals bounce the Rams and get in that lower 20s. But Cardinals are broken, as we've seen, and I can't believe the Rams were only a 4.5-point favorite to open up that.
Well,
that line.
I think they're throwing in the possible Matt Stafford choke factor, and also the Rams. To me, even though they won, they didn't win. The Rams look like I know we want to blame everything on Matthew Stafford, but the Rams look a little bit shooken to me. They jump off sides. They're undisciplined. You can run on them. There's a lot of flaws with that team, so that's why they're only 4.5-point favorites. I think both the Cardinals and the Rams have huge flaws that they need to overcome.
Now, Sawyer's going to tell you about the Fulling Warehouse in a second, but I do want to address this one. Jim Grice Jr. Neil, you got to take a beat. It's insulting to Brad Holmes that you don't think he will do his job and make the right moves in the draft. See, I'm the exact opposite of that. I've been the one, Brad Holmes' most important player in the Lions organization right now. If they're going to win, it will be because of Brad Holmes. Everyone talks about Dan Campbell and coaching or Jared Goff at quarterback or all those things. No. Brad Holmes holds the keys to whether or not this Lions franchise can ultimately win a playoff game.
And guess who agrees with you? This guy.
Right. He is. And at the end, see, Terry, that's why you and I are in the same place at the end. We just take different routes to get there.
Yes, that's true.
We take different routes to get there, and that's fine. So I would say this to you, Jim. I have 100% trust in Brad Holmes. But the reason I want the most valuable commodity. I want to give Brad Holmes every tool I can give him. every single tool, the number 1 overall pick, the 33rd pick, all of it. I want to give him the most because he is going to be a factor. And we did continue to see that. Amon-Ra St. Brown, guys, he's breaking Calvin Johnson's rookie records. It is incredible. And Kenny Galladay is going to make more in 4 games next year than Amon-Ra St. Brown will make in his entire contract with the Lions. Think about that. Sawyer, tell them about the mystery beer vending machine.
Oh, I'll tell you about the best investment you can do with $2. All you got to do is go on down to the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. It's the birthplace of the game called Foaling. You're just going bowling with a football. It's one of the most fun things I've done. We had our Christmas party there for Woodward Sports. It's a great time. Highly recommend everybody to go out there. And I mean, hey, our weekends are open now. Football season's over. We're just going to be sitting at home. I might be a little snooty and go snowboarding every once in a while, but I'm definitely going to be. I mean, going to have to figure out a way to get over there. But yeah, I mean, going to be in the Foaling Warehouse this offseason. They have over 100 beers, 2 full bars, the mystery beer machine. You put $2 in, you get a mystery beer back. I've done a PBR and an Old Milwaukee out of it. I mean, haven't missed yet. Definitely going to run it again. You can have family events there, corporate events like we've done. You can just show up, pay $10, play unlimited, or you can rent a private lane, through a reservation. So, I mean, check them out online. Go to FoalingWarehouse.com or go to the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. And this is Big D Energy. We got Terry Foster in the house today, and we got Neil Rule on the desk. We got me over here in the TD booth. We got Sam over in the audio booth, and we'll be right back on the Woodward Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with Hall Financial, the mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhallfirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
On and poppin', Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rule, Terry Foster, Sawyer Sam in the house as well. Happy to have you guys all along for the ride with us, talking the Detroit Lions, their win over the Green Bay Packers. And here's a good one from Chuck. Says, Neil, here's some more math for you. Number 2 overall pick's contract is cheaper than the number 1 overall pick's contract.
Ooh, and you like cheap contracts.
And I do like cheap contracts. Insert Amon-Ra St. Brown here. And I'll say this, Terry, too. Based on how he closed and the numbers he put up and everything like that, dollar for dollar, Amon-Ra St. Brown might be the best player on the Detroit Lions.
Probably is for now. Yes, he is.
If you go off of return versus cost, Amon-Ra St. Brown holds a Lions season record for the most receiving yards by a rookie, passing Roy Williams as he had 817 yards. It's been impressive, man.
The home team knows how to get open. He's not one of those guys that's going to burn you deep, but he's got a little wiggle in him, and he gets open in critical situations, and you can milk him. You know, a lot of times, sometimes a receiver may have a good game, but they'll hit him early in the first quarter, then again in the second quarter. You can go to Amon-Ra St. Brown this play on second down and third down, and then you can hit him again. Right?
You can hand the ball to him.
Right.
Yeah.
Hand the ball to him. You can do a lot of things.
And that's what's intriguing. I think that you see a lot of versatility with him, and I love it, man. I love what he's turned into. Aleem McNeil certainly had some moments in the game yesterday as well. And again, I'm not mad. I wasn't punching the air or anything like that when they won. I was disappointed, sure. But that's just mild because, again, they already had the number 2 pick locked up. We saw Dan Campbell open up the playbook vault as well. You got Tom Kennedy out there throwing touchdown passes and things like that. I mean, it was a circus. Yeah, I mean, he coached like they had nothing to lose because they did.
He did, but the other thing is he coached. We look at it, opening up the playbook and keeping Green Bay off balance, but he also coached a game that would invigorate a dressing room. I know that his rah-rah speeches and everything gets people riled up, but the fact that he's given players toys. NFL players like toys, and toys for them are trick plays, fake punts, onside kicks. That gets guys enthused. So Dan Campbell, to ensure that they just didn't show up and say, okay, we got Green Bay, whatever, we have nowhere to go, he put in a playbook, and guys knew it was coming. And that got them, okay, we're going to play again. We're going to ball out today.
What about this, Terry? PGL61 says, hey, Neil, play design has elevated so much since Campbell took over. Dan Campbell as OC has been the most improved Lion this year. What about that? Because obviously Anthony Lynn has been a dead man walking for a couple of months now.
Right.
They will try to find another offensive coordinator. We will see, what will Dan Campbell do? How much more involved will he be? Will he be less involved? All of that stuff. And we have a whole offseason to talk about that. How do you think he grew as the year went on? Do you have more faith in Dan Campbell today than you did 10 weeks ago?
Yes, because 10 weeks ago I wanted him fired. I want him out of here. Maybe not.
Man, Terry, what's wrong in your life that you walk around with such hate in your heart, man, where you're that upset?
Hey, because I'm trying to see this franchise take the next step, and I thought he was a disaster from this standpoint. When he started play calling, he was awful. Now, he's like, he's coaching like he don't give a damn, and that's a good way. I don't give a damn. We have inferior talent. We're just gonna let it roll out there, and so I think he talked about being aggressive. He talked about kneecaps, and then didn't do it. Now he's doing it. So I think he has evolved. I think he's involved because now he is more to what he's akin to, or at least to what he talked about. Just letting it all hang out. I'm going to walk the walk and talk the talk. He wasn't walking the walk before, and I thought he was bad as a play caller at first.
Tony Pasta, Dan Campbell is fantastic. Our team looks to move forward and move in wins. T-Foss is a negative old fuddy-duddy.
No, you know what? Here's T-Foss. T-Foss is tired of you guys celebrating occasional victories. T-Foss wants to have a city where we talk about championships, where you build towards championships. And I'm tired of all this mediocrity that you people put up with. How about that? I want better for you. You're like my children who don't know any better.
Jason Hill says Brad Holmes has proven better than just one draft. Well, I'm talking about with the Lions, because you can be at a different organization and be good at drafting, and something happens when you come here. But Brad Holmes seems as though he's above that. Just look at the hits, Terry. Look at the hits. You
know what he's doing, or what I think he has an agreement with? The Fords are staying out of his office. Before, and I even think this happened under Matt Millen, who was a disaster. Maybe there were some guys he wanted to draft, but the Fords are like, well, we need a quarterback. We need Joey Harrington. We need this.
And you, Terry, you obviously your network and your circle is much greater. Your connection's much greater than mine. But I think, let me run this by you from what I've heard to people that I've talked to that have been in and around that room. That was from above. Like the Joey Harrington thing was from above.
It was. It was from above. And I tell you who didn't like Joey Harrington? Steve Mariucci. The coach didn't like him. He didn't want him. Because I was doing a piece on Joey Harrington, and I asked Steve Mariucci some softball questions. He looked at me like, no, this ain't the guy.
and that is true. And you knew that, Terry, when they came in, when Brad Holmes came in, Dan Campbell came in, the length of the contract, that was the first thing that opened my eyes, to see that Dan Campbell got a 6-year contract, Holmes got a 5-year contract. I think their pitch, and the reason that probably the Lions ended up going that direction, I bet they kept it real when they made their pitch. And they're like, look, we're going to have to trade Matt Stafford as much as you guys don't want to do. And I don't know this. I'm just
this
conjecture on my part.
I'm sure the Fords were very upset that Matt Stafford went in and said he wanted out. Because when you look at his history here, never had a quality backup quarterback, if you talked
Never drafted
about
one.
right,
nothing.
never did that. If you talked about Matthew Stafford being somewhere else, man, they get all pissed off and everything. They wanted it to work out. They wanted him to be their quarterback this year, next year, and the year after. They didn't want to get rid of Matthew Stafford. They didn't want to move on. And here's the other thing. Brad Holmes, as far as the forwards, we have a commercial. You know what he's got on his front door for the forwards? 1-800 stay out.
It's a joint advertisement.
Yes, it is.
And I will have to temper this too, and I know it's a feel good thing. And oddly enough, with a team that's 3-13-1, there seems to be a lot of positive sentiment, and that's fine by me because I share that sentiment. Because I should get a Brad Holmes jersey, maybe at the Woodward Sports Draft Party. That's what I'll do. I'll rock a Brad Holmes jersey or a T-shirt or something because he's the MVP on this team. CJ Schneider, and we'll have these discussions too. Now that the season's is wound down for the Lions, it is winding down the NFL, and we'll get into the calendar. Then in March, when free agency starts and the draft and all that, we'll get a lot of these, like CJ Schneider just says. We need free agents like Vandenbosch and Tate, dudes who are great on the field and in the locker room. And CJ, I will say this, and I am on board, and I'm on board for the first time probably in 20 years with the Detroit Lions. I'm on board with who's making the calls. And I'll say this to you guys. Let's tap the brakes on that free agency stuff, Terry, because I've laid out my plan many times. This was the draft pick year. Next year, you got to take some scissors to the salary cap. And you got to cut some stuff.
And free agents don't want to come here.
And you're not there yet. You're not there yet. You need to get – I believe you'll have sufficient talent just based on the draft history of Brad Holmes. And just in terms of the draft of itself, the talent that he brings in through the draft. But with all that being said, you're going to have next year is going to be the year of financial pain. Do you think Trey Flowers is a long-term answer?
No.
So either you believe or you don't believe, and if you don't believe, then what's the outcome?
See you.
You need to cut it. Like that's where it is, guys. And you're gonna have to show some financial scars in order to do that. You know, the $10 million cap hits to cut some folks and things like that. And then Jared Goff, you know, what do you do with him? Is he a bridge guy? Is he not a bridge guy? You got a $10 million out after next year with Goff if you want it. So these are the things, guys. We're not there yet, CJ. We're not to the free agency part of all this. 2023 we are. But this offseason we're not. It's a 34-game process, man. We're 17 in. So let's keep rocking and rolling it and get this thing handled. But again, Lions win over the Packers. They have the number 2 overall pick. The Jaguars won. And coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to go around the NFL. I have some critical questions. I think we're going to need at least 2 segments of going around the NFL. Sawyer has some questions to answer.
Tough.
It's Black Monday.
Poor thing.
Coaches are getting fired. The playoffs are set. We got a lot of NFL football to discuss. What's not up for discussion? One of the best vodkas in the game, folks. Gypsy Vodka, made in Michigan, out of Petoskey. You know, we can talk about that. It's cool. Like, you can support local guys that own the company out of Petoskey and Michigan-made vodka and all that stuff. But in and above that, it tastes good. Period. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. You know, I tell you about the 50 different formulas, the countless taste tests, all that kind of stuff, the artesian spring water, all of that. I'm very simple. All I know is when I pour it in a glass and put some club soda and a couple limes in it, that's a Saturday night for me, folks. And we'll get to work on that bottle of Gypsy. That's just how we do it because it's good tasting vodka. That's it. That's all I have for you guys. There's cool taglines and everything like that. The bottom line is this. You want good tasting vodka, take my word for it. I drink it. I like it. It's good. So if you're a vodka guy, Gypsy Vodka is the play. You can get it at any store. Ask for it by name. It's Gypsy Vodka. As always, drink responsibly.
Everything that we've hoped for finally.
He's going deep, right side.
well, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brandon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Off and running. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, Terry Foster here in the house. And the time is coming. We'll revisit the Lions a little bit later on. But we do have to go around the NFL because yesterday, Terry, that was crazy yesterday, wasn't it? When you look at everything that happened, and I think it all starts with what the Colts did in Jacksonville. To quote a good friend of mine, they didn't lose. They got bopped by the Jaguars.
It's sad. I don't understand how a team that has nothing to win can beat a better team that has everything to lose. I mean, desperation sometimes often makes teams better, makes them more focused, makes them more in tuned in the game. And the fact that Indianapolis cannot win in Jacksonville is just baffling to me.
It is. So, and you guys know Sawyer is a resident Colts fan, grew up as a Colts fan, went to college at Butler down there in Indianapolis. When he wasn't skiing in the Swiss Alps, he was watching Colts games, and that's what he was doing. So, Sawyer, the floor is yours right now. How the hell do you go down there and not only lose that football game, Sawyer? That's fine. That stuff will happen. As I always like to say, the Jaguars guys, they drive Mercedes too. You know, like they make a lot of money. They're good football players, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How do you lose like that, Sawyer? The floor is yours.
2 words. Go ahead.
Oh, well, we suck.
No.
Or we blew it. We choked.
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz. I don't know. I just don't know how you forget, like, you have the best running back in the league. Like, we just didn't use Jonathan Taylor at all. Like, that was horrible. I don't know. It was like an existential crisis day for me. I was just watching it at the post-game show, getting sad. I almost bought a Harley Davidson. Like, it was midlife crisis time. Like, how did we lose that game? But I don't know. There's some good head coaches on the block now, though. So
and we will get to that coming up in just a little bit.
When did you first think trouble was brewing?
Right away.
No, it was like you sent their first touchdown in like our show chat, and I was like, psh, it's early. Neil's crazy. Yeah, I got this. And then it was like 13-3.
It was the way they did it, Sawyer, that was concerning. The way that they just methodically went down the field on the Colts.
Yeah.
And I said, and you parlay that with the fact, too, Trevor Lawrence had thrown 1 touchdown pass in the previous 8 games. You knew he was going to get right at some time, and it was probably going to happen at home. It was a bad circumstance lined up. What do you got, Sam?
I actually talked to Sawyer on Friday, and I kind of laid out that maybe this is the game where Trevor Lawrence finally has his coming out party, and he did. And I also mentioned maybe Jacksonville right now is just a house of horrors for the Colts, and it is. They lost again. So I guess I was pretty prophetic, although I didn't expect it to actually happen.
And there it was.
Yeah.
What if you had, say, the Lions and the Colts on a moneyline parlay yesterday? You did all right for yourselves. You were on mybookie.ag.
Yeah. One thing about that game, though, I did really like was the dedication to the clown out by the Jaguars fans. That was incredible. I loved that.
I did notice that as well, and that was very well played. It was reminiscent of the day that the Lions fans showed up in orange.
Right.
When they played the Bengals that one day. When it was
that day was hilarious.
The Millen fan march?
No, the Millen Man march.
Yeah. Where people were just committed to the process. One funky Lions fan. Indy struggled in Jacksonville for like 10 years now. I know 3 people who all made money on that game. It's just, we like to tease Sawyer a little bit because I'm not going to say I called it, but I was mindful of it, and I think that you were more defiant. I think that in your heart, you knew there were problems. You knew there were potential problems, but you tried to keep this gruff, tough exterior, but in your heart, you were terrified, weren't you? Be real.
Oh, yeah, and you were planting seeds from, like, Monday. So just as the week was going, I was like, oh, maybe, I don't know. But, I mean, yeah, I was trying to stay positive, you know? Just can't go into the
Neil
game
was
defeated.
messing with you.
Yeah, exactly. He just
he's
wanted to see
bad.
me unhappy.
Here we go again with this, man. Here we go again with this. So, and here's the other thing that I did have to address as we look around the NFL, Terry. And I'll ask you in a second what kind of your takeaway was. But when you look at that Sunday night game, and you and I talked about this, we had a Twitter poll about it last week, and we were joking and laughing and everything. What are the Raiders doing kicking that field goal with 2 seconds left in overtime, where if they just run another play and run the clock out, they go to the playoffs? And I haven't had anybody explain it to me to help me make it make sense as to what the possible reason you would do. What would it be to kick that field goal? Terry, if you run a play and run the clock out, you're going to the playoffs. If you kick that field goal and make it, you're going to the playoffs. However, if you kick that field goal and it gets blocked in return for a touchdown, you are not going to the playoffs. So why put yourself in harm's way like that? I can't understand it.
Because you're a competitor.
No.
And your job is to win a football game. And the thing that coaches always say is, I have belief in my guys. I know my guys are going to block. I know my guys are going to kick that field goal. I know we're going to walk off as champ or as a winner tonight. So you have to show. Sometimes you have to show confidence in your guys, and I think that's what happened in that situation. That's why they kicked the field goal.
And right there, you see, if you're watching on YouTube, the tweet Austin Eckler being told by a Raiders player that they were going to run the clock out before the Chargers called timeout. And sure, you can back it up to that and say, well, why the Chargers call timeout? But I'll go through that. If you're the Raiders, it still doesn't make sense to kick that field goal. Nothing that can happen by kicking that field goal won't happen by not kicking the field goal.
Okay, but you can also say it made no sense once the Chargers called timeout. It made no sense running a play because you could fumble and then
even if you fumble, Terry, say you fumble the snap, the ball's right there, and the clock is over, like the clock runs out. Even if you fumble the snap, and what's going to happen first, a fumbled snap or a blocked field goal? Mathematically,
field goal.
Yeah. I just don't understand why you put yourself at, even if you are trying to spite a division rival or something like that. If anything, if I'm the Raiders coach, and this is really, really long thinking and being around coaches for a very long time, if anything, I'd rather another team from my division get in the playoffs too, so I can go to management and say, here's why I deserve this job. In a year where 3 teams from this division were good enough to go to the playoffs, we made it. Look at how good this division is. We still made the playoffs.
Guess what? You're correct. But I think in a situation like that, it's all instinctive. Your instinct is to kick a field goal. Your instinct is to win a game. Maybe the coaches didn't think about the big picture. It's like we're in the heat of the battle. We're battling these jerks for 70 minutes or whatever it was. I'm tired of them. Let's get rid of these fools. And that's what they did. So it was
not worth the risk to
instinctive,
me.
and it wasn't necessarily the right thing to do.
It's just, I can't help me understand this, guys. And one funky Lions fan, if the Raiders don't kick that field goal, the NFL world breaks. Neil, you act like you've never played a sport or act like pride doesn't exist. No, because I don't care about pride. I care about going to the playoffs. More importantly, I care about not going to the playoffs, and I'm not putting that at risk.
All right, here's the deal. I would have kicked the field goal unless I was coaching the Detroit Lions. You know why? Because I know that kick would be blocked. I know they would return it for a touchdown, and I know I'd be out of the playoffs. So I would have taken a knee if I was coaching the Detroit Lions, because that's just what happens to the Lions.
Yeah. Looks like Neil hates winning today. No, I'm taking out all chances of not going to the playoffs. I'm taking out all the I'm not taking a chance that it gets blocked in return for a touchdown. When if I don't kick it, it's the same outcome. I go to the playoffs. I didn't make the system, guys. That's just the way that the system is.
Dude, you're right. But once again, instinctive. You know, your job is to go out there, and your instinct is to, what do I do to win this game? You don't look at big pictures a lot of times.
Because I don't care about I care about my team.
No, I'm saying as a coach, you don't look at the big picture. It was probably a mistake on their part.
See, that's the thing. It was a mistake on their part. Let's just call it what it was. It was a mistake. One funky Lions fan, hey, I literally played for a tie. I deserve more money. No, you're fired. No, because I made it to the playoffs in a division with 3 playoff teams. I got us to the playoffs. After everything that happened with this franchise, I got you guys to the playoffs. They blocked the field goal, gets run back. Boom, your season's over. And you're definitely fired. If you want to take it to that level, then yeah, you're going to get let go. You kick the field goal, it gets blocked in return, I fire you on the spot if I'm a general manager.
You probably would get fired. That's true.
On the spot, I fire you. So why take the chance? See, like, why, Terry? Why is this? Why are we in this world where... Why does emotion come into play all the time?
Why are we talking about trying not to win a football game?
Because that's not the objective.
In sports, you are a competitor. And, you know, all these guys are always talking about win, win, win. All I think about is winning on Sunday. So now you're saying, let's settle for the tie. You don't think that way in professional sports because you are paid to win a football game, you're paid to make your fans happy, and you're paid to believe in your players. I believe that my guys can kick a damn 38-yard field goal. And that's what happened.
But why put it at risk? If you don't kick the field goal, you are going to the playoffs.
Because I'm a competitor, brother.
Right. And if you're a competitor, you want to win a Super Bowl, right?
I do.
Got to be in the playoffs to do that.
But I'm a competitor. I know I can kick a damn 38-yard field goal.
Luke Geno Johnson, I'm confused. Even if the Raiders miss a field goal, they make the playoffs. So why is everybody freaking out? Not if it's blocked in return for a touchdown, they don't.
Which is a 1 in 1,000
I
chance.
understand. I understand that, but why take the chance? Why? When you don't have to.
Competitor, brother. A competitor.
Okay, well, then you say that to the GM when you're in the office. Why'd you guys do that? Oh, because I'm a competitor.
Bam.
If you're a competitor, then get in the playoffs.
I knew my guys can execute it. You put together a team that I'm coaching. I knew this kick was not going to be blocked. I knew everything would work out fine. I'm a competitor, and I believe in my guys. So there you go.
Right. AC says, why did Staley call timeout? I'm talking about even above that, though. The Raiders still had that option to just kind of sit that one out. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for that to get blocked and everything. Maybe it's a problem with me, Terry, because the people don't seem to understand. Like Mark Ellis says, why play for the tie? Just doesn't make sense. Play to win. Because that's what the system. A tie got you in the playoffs, as did a win.
Now, guys, Neil is right. But I'm still going to argue with this dude. He is right. Why take that risk? And I'm telling you, after being around these clowns for decades, the mentality is I'm walking off the field a winner that day. That's what we prepared for all week. That's what we believe in. And I believe in my teammates. I believe in my players. I believe in my coaches. So we're going to execute this simple play and move on to the playoffs as winners.
Matthew Dennis, I didn't agree with Neil at the beginning of the week when he said just kneel at the entire game, but I understand his sentiment because even with the 1/1000th of a chance, there's still a chance. And that's it. Right there for me. That's it. Why take the chance when you don't have to take the chance? That's just, I'll never understand that. Cintron World's an aspirational lifestyle beverage brand with a line of sparkling flavored energy beverages, premium bottled water, and revitalizer shots as well. Happy to have Cintron brand on board here at the Woodward Sports Network. Follow them on social media at Cintron World. See all the inspiring things they're up to. They empower women, support entrepreneurs. Find them everywhere from hockey games to concerts, also charity events as well. You can buy their products online at cintronworld.com. Use a promo code RedWings10 and you will save 10% with shipping included. More than a beverage, it's a lifestyle. It doesn't just fit into your lifestyle, it enhances it. Encourages you to look good and feel great. Drink it, live it with Cintron.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Pulling up on the second hour of the show, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule. Terry Foster in the house. Happy to have you along for the ride here today. C. Gerald says, I wouldn't want Neil on my team, LOL. Why? Because I would get you to the playoffs?
That's right.
Everybody's talking about competing, and the goal is to, here it is, Luke Johnson says, you grow up playing sports to beat your opponent at all costs. Yeah, I thought it was to win a championship. That's why I would be playing, to be the very best at what I do.
Neil, sometimes you're right about something, but we still got to tell you to shut up.
All right, whatever, man.
That's life because archaic rules in the NFL.
And therein, Terry, you and I, we always take different routes, but we always end up at the same place.
Right.
It's not my fault that the NFL would reward a tie with a playoff berth.
Right.
That's not my fault. That's the NFL's fault.
Even though you're right, I still got to tell you to shut the hell up.
All right. All right, Terry, I'll be quiet for this whole hour. Take it away. Happy to have you guys here with us. In the words of the immortal Herm Edwards, you play to win the game, and sometimes that requires being gutsy, not being timid. So you try something. You don't try something due to fear of it going wrong. So that's what it is. Sideless says Neil forgets the 1 in a million chance a team fumbles a snap and it gets run back. Again, go through the annals of time and how many times that fumbled snap been run back versus how many times a field goal has been blocked and returned for a touchdown. I'm playing the math. I'm analytical. That's what it is. Juices Ghost, haha, T-Foss facts. I've assumed about telling me to shut up, Terry, but they do give me a check. They do give me a check, so I do have to continue it. What about you, Terry? As the NFL unfolded yesterday, I certainly had that fear. Incredible win by the San Francisco 49ers, a very gutsy win by them. What stood out to you?
What stood out to me is how clownish the LA Rams are. And I know whenever the Rams win, we praise Matthew Stafford. And when they lose, we blame him. But I look at this, there's flaws with that team. And, they're going to play the Flaw Bowl next Monday night when Arizona and the Rams play each other. Rams can't stop the run. The Rams make critical mistakes. The Rams are undisciplined, but they have a lot of talent. And Matthew Stafford, he's going to throw two, 3 interceptions a game. But somehow they find themselves in a position to win. They could have won yesterday but didn't. I think this whole team is flawed. And then San Francisco manhandled them. Usually when you get dudes who 300-400 pounds, whatever they are, you have a big tussle and it's a give and take here and there. But the 49ers took control, grabbed the Rams by their throat, threw them aside, and just ran the football. It didn't matter what the situation is. We're going to run the football and we're going to succeed. We don't care if it's 3rd and 6. We're going to run the football and get the first down. That's embarrassing.
No, it was, and it's amazing. Me with the Rams, I've really gone back and forth week by week with them, where there's been times where I thought they're going to win the Super Bowl, and then there's been times where I thought, what is wrong with this team? And for me, it's still Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp and Jalen Ramsey. They're big-time playmakers around that roster. And as I look at the NFL playoff bracket, it will be interesting to see because I think matchups will determine who goes to the Super Bowl. The way that this thing plays out, I think the matchups will determine who goes to the Super Bowl. To where if the Rams are playing at Green Bay, I believe the Rams will beat Green Bay in Green Bay. To where if the Rams had to go to Tampa, I don't think they would win. As weird as that sounds. but the matchups are going to dictate
weird.
to me.
It's sort of like Indianapolis can't beat the Jaguars.
Yeah, but if Tampa goes to Green Bay, I think Green Bay will win that game this year. You know, it's all matchup dependent for me. So, and I will say this: you want to know my overriding thing about that I saw in the NFL this week is the extra playoff spot. I really like this playoff format. I really do. You're juicing an extra week of the playoffs, and playoff football is great, and we love it. I love the Saturday playoff football games. I don't like the Saturday regular season games, if that makes any sense. But once college football is over, I really do like the Saturday playoff games. And Terry, they did very, very well by adding that one playoff spot. Look at all the intrigue that the end of the season had.
Right. The regular season went down to the last play of game number 272. What better thing can happen? We couldn't set our little brackets until that final field goal was made, and that's a wonderful season. And you get the extra, and then we get the super wild card weekend coming up. We get great games Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Damn, this is great.
But no Colts for Sawyer.
No Colts,
so
no Lions.
Here's the other question I have for Sawyer. So how does it feel that you guys lost to Jacksonville and are bounced out of the playoffs, but the Eagles, who hold all your draft picks till the end of time, made it to the playoffs? So they got your draft capital, and they're in the playoffs, and the Colts aren't. Your thoughts?
It kills. Like, yeah, you said it before the show. I mean, we just got played. Like, that was the ultimate just fiddle.
You played yourself.
Yeah, like, we got played so hard that it was just bad. I don't know. It's going to be a rough playoff season. I'll still watch it, but it'll just be sad. I'll probably shake my head the whole time and
that's some
just
lion.
cry.
That's some lion stuff that would have happened pre-Brad Holmes.
Now, if they had won, who were the Colts going to play? Would it have been at home?
It would not have been at home now.
Okay, who
We
are
would
you
have
going
been
to
away.
play?
Not too sure, to be honest.
Yeah, it depends on how the.
He's checked out now.
Yeah.
You don't give a damn.
Well, you probably would have got the Steelers spot, right?
Yep.
So probably would have been the 7. So he would have played at Kansas City.
All right, that's a one and done. First round, see you later.
Don't try to justify it now.
So it didn't matter.
Don't try. Don't try, Sawyer. We know. It's got to really burn that the Eagles have all your draft picks and they're in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because we were talking about it too, and we are like, what do we do with the quarterback? And then you're like, well, you can't draft one because you don't have any draft picks for the next 20 years. And it's like, well, geez. Now
And you
we're
don't
gonna
have
to
any
find a free
trades, so you
agent.
can't pull like a Matt Stafford type thing either.
Mm-hmm.
Colts are in some trouble, man.
Yeah,
as
we
a
really shot
franchise.
ourselves in the foot grabbing Wentz and landed on the line with those draft picks. But I don't know. Everybody thought Ballard was the man, too, with that move. They're like, oh, it's so smart. We're going to have so much capital. And then, nope.
And then Wentz played enough to where the draft pick kicker came into play. I don't know, man.
Blew it against the Raiders.
It's looking bad, dude. It is. And here are the old Philadelphia Eagles right now in the playoffs with all the Colts draft picks, and they got a quarterback.
Yeah, they do.
On a second-round draft pick. They got a quarterback for 4 years at $6 million total.
Jeez. And Wentz is costing us what, like 20, 30? Something like that? Something ridiculous?
Wentz is going to make more in the first 5 games next year than Jalen Hurts will make in his contract.
Okay, Neil, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why are you pounding on the poor guy? You know, he came in, he was all upset.
Because that's some lion stuff that the Colts
and you
did.
just looking at him like, why, Sawyer? Why?
Because it feels good that it's not the Lions for once.
Oh, it feels good. This man who we all love around, it feels good to pound on him and make him feel as little as possible.
You do that to me every show, Terry.
Because you're a big guy. You don't care. This is a young kid. He's still trying to get his feelings together. He's still trying to figure out life. And here's an old veteran like you. I'm going to pound this guy into ashes.
Yeah. Taking the tie is a loser mentality when you could have won the game. You're not taking the tie. You're making sure you go to the play. See, that there's a difference in description. I'm making sure I'm going to the playoffs. I'm taking out all risk of me not going to the playoffs.
Now,
That's where it's different.
supposedly, if San Diego didn't call the timeout, the Raiders were content with taking a knee.
Which I don't understand what changed. Even through the timeout.
You know what? I think what happened is you got a positive play. You're all fired up. And on the sideline, it's not reality. So everybody's like, yeah, look what we did. We got this play. Let's go win this stuff. Let's walk off the field. And you're not thinking about the big. That's probably what happened.
Yeah. Neil takes Tuesday and makes fun of other people to make himself feel better. Good grief. I'm not. I am pointing out that was a very Lion-esque move by the Colts organization. And in the end, Sawyer, you agree. Is that fair?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it was a very Lion-esque move to make. I mean, we had all the tools to make the playoffs. Probably could have made I might be lying to myself. We made a decent run, hopefully, if everything was coming together at the right time. And then, we just blew it. I don't know. It's tough.
It is.
Don't really know what to say, yeah.
And I would imagine, too, the finality setting in, like the draft, the whole draft thing's really going to burn.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no DMAC Lions clock for the Colts and what they just did to themselves, but maybe we'll make one for next year.
the Sawyer Colts clock.
Yeah.
Why don't you just pull out a pistol and shoot
and put him down?
Shoot Sawyer in the face. Put him out of his misery.
Yeah. Neil would have kicked the field goal if it meant the Colts weren't going to the playoffs.
I would have.
Hey,
is that true?
Yeah, I would have did that to Sawyer. No, Sawyer and I are becoming good friends, like really good friends.
Well,
pretty close. Like I have a lot of respect for Sawyer. He's high level at what he does. He's a huge asset to this show. And that's the way it works, man. Like you give your friends grief, dude.
Is that why you mashed them like a cigarette butt now?
No, I would have. Not only would I have kicked the field goal, I think that I would have tried to drive in for a touchdown. Just in the overtime.
Really make him look bad.
Yeah. Really drive the nails in the coffin.
Absolutely. I would have done that. So, it's just a Lions-esque thing that the Colts are in a position of. It's weird for him being a Colts fan, so I just wanted to talk about that. I want to talk about the national championship game for a couple minutes when we come back. Not a ton of time, because I know a lot of people are probably gonna check out as far as it goes. Patty Grimes, Neil, how come the Rams didn't go for the tie then when they were in field goal range? Because the Rams were already in, no matter what. That's different. And they're trying to win a division as well. And now, granted, the Cardinals helped them by losing. They're trying to win a division.
But if they tied, they would have won the division.
Well, they didn't know that at the time.
I think they did. Cardinals game was over with before theirs, was it?
I can't remember the timeline. Yeah, I can't remember what the timeline was on that. I guess they probably would have known.
Yeah, but they weren't even in field goal range. So the Rams were trying to get into field goal range and then try to score a touchdown.
And then try to see how it plays out. So, that's what it is. But yeah, we'll talk about this national championship game for a couple minutes when we come back. I want to know, are people here going to watch? T-Foss says he is. I wonder if you guys are too. We'll discuss when we come back. Big D Energy, Big D, Woodward Big Sports D. Network. Big D. Guys, you know me. You know I like things simple. You know I'm just going to take the tie if that gets me into the playoffs, because that's the way I'm going to roll. But if I wanted to win in the haircut game, Lady Jane's is in play. Walk in, sign in, sit down, boom. Your hair is cut. That's the way it works. They're open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. It's not one of these things where you walk in there and they'll be like, hey, we can get to you in 45 minutes. Hey, come back on Tuesday. Hey, come back at 5 o'clock. No. You walk in, sign in, sit down. The hair is cut. 29 locations in the state of Michigan. You can walk in anytime. Lady Jane's for men. It's wicked awesome.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart, right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Putting on a show here, and that's how you answer. We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, T. Foss, Terry Foster in the house. Don't forget, too, a couple hundred votes on the YouTube chat thread poll. Story time with Terry coming up about 50 minutes past hour number 2. Terry has a Charles Barkley story where he talked about Manute Ball's feet.
That was hilarious, too.
And he said it was a great, funny story. Or the time Terry almost died covering the Olympics. So, just to update on the poll, Terry almost died at the Olympics 58% to 42%. This is the biggest margin of lead that we've had in one of these.
Almost died at the Olympics twice, as a matter of fact.
Which you're only going to... But, hey, don't use up all the good ammo.
I'm going to use the one.
The one. Okay, so you keep that one in the hopper.
Yes.
Because I think that, especially if this one wins, I think you would probably... And if it's a good story, I think people will go back to the well, go back to the well on that. Matt Carey says, I will watch the last game of the college football season. Georgia has to beat Bama. Kirby Smart needs the win. AC, Neil's the kind of guy that would remind the teacher we had homework. AC very much would not be that kind of guy, trust me, because chances are I wouldn't have had the homework done because I would have been busy watching the sports the night before and not did it. So make sure you get your vote in. Our YouTube chat thread poll, it's choose your own adventure with Terry Foster. I'm having a lot of fun. One Funky Lions fan, definitely watching for the game tonight. I hope they play for a tie so everyone gets a participant trophy. Well, the game can end in a tie, so there's that, because college football has it right, where a game can't end in a tie. You can fix all this, NFL, because at the core of all this, Terry and I agree, it's a stupid NFL rule that you can tie in a football game. But the national championship game tonight in Indianapolis, Alabama, Georgia, a 2.5-point favorite. And Terry, I asked you this earlier. You said you are going to watch, and especially if you're a draft fan like I am, there's going to be a lot of players on that field that are going to end up drafted.
Yes, and I'm sure you'll be out there deciding who the Lions should pick in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round.
100%.
So yeah, I don't watch for that. I watch for quality football. I watch for an upgrade from the Big Ten season, and I just think when the SEC teams play in these situations, something magical happens, whether it's the Tua pass or Jalen Hurts made some great passes. You see some great lines, plays from scrimmage, and you see great defensive players, real athletic defensive players run people down and do all this and everything. I like that. And the atmosphere is just electric.
I know there's a lot of Lions fans on board with Nakobe Dean at the linebacker spot. You get a chance to watch him. He's a sideline-to-sideline guy, tremendous speed. And it goes back to that for me. And look, it might prove to be easier to win the national title than it is to win the SEC. If Georgia wins tonight, certainly you can make that case. I remember Steve Spurrier said that before. It's easier to win the national title than it is to win the SEC. And certainly, too, when you look at what Texas A&M is doing out in the recruiting community, spending $30 million on name, image, and likeness deals for a recruiting class, I think Texas A&M might be the next. And if you're Georgia, Terry, you have to strike because of the proliferation of Texas A&M and what they're going to do and what we're seeing other schools do. You don't know if you're going to get this chance to get back. And Kirby Smart, there's a lot on the line for him because he's up against that wall right now. Can he win the big game? Can he beat Saban? Can he beat Alabama? There are a lot of storylines.
Yeah, there's the mental thing, and then there's Nick, who a lot of people root against because they don't like the guy. He's a little standoffish and a little weird. But, yeah, there are lots of stories. And Kirby Smart's got, they got to get through the mental part. A lot of sports is not physical. It's not that I'm better than you on the field, but a mental thread plays within certain games. This game is one of them, and Georgia has to overcome that hurdle.
Right.
And, Georgia's the type of team that could be kicking Alabama up and down the field, up by 21 points in the second half and still lose. They got to get through that.
One Funky Lions fan again. No, Neil, we need everyone to get a trophy. I didn't make the system so a tie is rewarded. I didn't. I don't understand why I'm taking grief for the NFL, who has tie games like the NHL in the early '80s. It is dumb. The more I think about it,
and the other thing that's dumb is, and I understand we're trying to protect players, but the overtime period is 10 minutes, not 15. Make it 15 minutes.
And that I agree with too. I mean, essentially 2 drives. Mm-hmm. And that could be it. And we've seen that throughout the NFL. So I think your problem is with the system, not with Neil Rule, as I can do a third person.
But look at the Rams game. The Niners had the ball. They got the ball and kick a field goal. There's only 2 minutes and 38 seconds left.
Yep.
Have a 15-minute thing so everybody gets the ball, quality time, unless you score the touchdown, of course.
Terry, let me hit you with this, too. Machiavelli Sucks to Go says Alabama scared of snow. Well, they're playing in Indianapolis. I know it's in a dome and stuff like that. But, Terry, I'm tired of hearing that, too, with the college football games. When they played the Super Bowl outdoors in the elements once, and they're probably never going to do it again. You want a true test of football, Terry. Right. The NFL's been doing that all the time where they play in domes, they play in California, Florida. That's just the way it works.
That's true. And to play in a bowl game or to play in a national championship semifinal is supposed to be a reward for the fans, a reward for that team, a reward for excellence. You're not going to say, okay, here's your reward. You're going to play at Soldier Field in Chicago, where everybody's going to freeze their asses off. You're going to be miserable. That's not a reward. That's a punishment.
Yeah. No, and that's where the whole thing comes into play, too, where, and we've had the discussion before, they're not doing a playoff at the Division I level. They're not going to do it for the reasons we've talked about in the past. You have the Rose Bowl director making $1.2 million to direct the Rose Bowl. Mm-hmm. The Outback Bowl director makes, I think, $975,000. That's the Outback Bowl. Those jobs ain't going anywhere, Terry.
Right.
They're not getting rid of those bowl games, so just stop it. You're not getting your playoff because there's too many people making too much money, and that's never going to stop. So I don't spend any energy
right.
on that whole idea.
The big lie is how much economic benefit it is for the communities. Nobody sees that money, but they say, oh, we just generated $50 million for our community, and then you don't see it. So the bowls, to me, I know people are upset that, the bowls are diminished, but the bowls have always been just a moneymaker for a community, a moneymaker for a guy that wears a red jacket once a year. Or actually, no, he wears it more than once a year. I give him credit because he's going to games. He's recruiting these teams. He's looking at teams. And, and sometimes teams buy their way into a bowl. You're like, why is Michigan State going to Hawaii? Well, because they bought their way in. I thought Central Michigan and the stupid Arizona Bowl, they were getting ripped off because the payout was like $125,000. Supposedly CMU didn't have enough money for the hotel and the food and everything, so they're begging the alumni for money to be in a bowl. That's not so. But they got bailed out.
But even then, though, Terry,
the Sun Bowl.
Yeah, but even then, though, Terry, you bet all those CMU administrators were on that plane and going to the bowl game that had never gone to a football game all season long.
That's right.
They weren't going down to Athens to see them play Ohio.
No, you know how much tickets were for the Arizona Bowl?
How much?
$25.
Okay,
it's a good deal.
You should have went down, Terry.
No, because then I would have missed out on the Sun Bowl.
And we know that can't be the case. Raider Nation 72, this is one of the chat threads messages of the year. The Big Ten plays their conference championship in a dome. Why don't they play it outside if they love being outside so much?
True. Yes, why not? And when we talk about expanding the Big Ten championship game, do you know where we talk about?
Ford Field,
Minnesota at the Dome, and Indianapolis. So that would be a rotating thing because the bottom line is for a championship game, you don't want your fans being out there freezing their asses off. You don't want a guy running for a game-winning touchdown. He slips on the piece of ice and fumbles the ball, through no fault of his own. The other team didn't do anything about that. So you want the best conditions. That's just the way it is.
That is the way it is, and that's where it's never going to change. I love that why don't the SEC teams come up to the cold? The Big Ten themselves play in a dome all the time, man. Mm-hmm. So can we stop with that narrative, dude? I'm tired of hearing that.
Even Division II. Now, they don't go to Miami.
They go to Texas.
They played in Texas. They played in Alabama, which is when I went to the championship game with Wayne State, it wasn't 80 degrees, but it was 50-something. I felt pretty good.
Right.
In December.
Skipper Sonny says, I have more interest in whoever the Motor City Cruises next game is against than this college football final. And I know there's going to be a lot of spite, and that's why I knew we were going to have like kind of a division. Sam, you got your Michigan Big Ten championship sweatshirt on right now. You going to watch tonight?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to watch. But one thing about me is that Alabama has always been my, second team because I just like watching good football. I like watching quality football players that are first-round draft picks. And in a Big Ten season, you don't always get that. So I'm watching, and I'm definitely rooting for Alabama.
All right, well, there you have that. We'll take a break when we come back. I do want to talk about this because Chuck Brewer brought up a good point. So I want to discuss this. It's Big D Energy right here, Woodward Sports Network.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Start your new year with a new network. Woodward Sports Network is here.
Coming down the stretch here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, flying through a Monday show. My name is Neil Rule. His name is Terry Foster. Make sure you vote in our YouTube chat thread. Story time with Terry Foster poll. Terry can tell you about the time Charles Barkley made fun of Manute Ball's feet, which he says was a very funny story, very hilarious.
It was so funny, I started crying. And I had a stomach ache because I was balled over. That's how funny it was.
Terry's trying to sell it to you right now. Or the time that Terry almost died at the Olympics, which, not surprisingly, Terry almost dying at the Olympics with a 58% to 42% lead. Sawyer, this is the biggest margin we've ever seen in one of these polls.
People want to see me die or something?
I don't know, but people are showing out today for story time with Terry.
They are.
It's exciting.
If you're watching on YouTube, which a lot of you are, make sure you click that like button, man. People are popping, and it's good to see here, Woodward Sports. A lot of you very loyal to the show. We certainly do appreciate it, even if you say that I'm soft or I root for ties or I'm not a competitor or all that stuff as well. Chuck Brewer says, and we're talking about the national championship game right now, Alabama and Georgia, and it's kind of devolved into the myth that SEC teams don't want to play in the North when Big Ten teams don't even want to play in the North if it's not indoors, if you want to call things what they are. Chuck says it's about fans again. It's not about the team. And no, because who spends the money, Terry?
That's right. And we do have bowls up north, and a couple of them are outside, but the Little Caesars Bowl, where do they play that? Ford Field, indoors. So, it's about the comfort for fans. It's about maximizing, people in the stands, TV audience, and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot. This is a business. This is not let's hook the North up so they have a better shot to win. This is all about
what's
business.
A truer test of football in the conditions? No. It's about TV ratings, advertising dollars. It's TV ratings, which equate to advertising dollars and ticket sales in that order.
And when you even look at the games up north, most games are played, the perfect conditions that fans romanticize about. It's like 35 or 40 degrees, not 5 degrees. It's a nice fall day, not snowy day, but even when we romanticize the games up north, we talk about that beautiful fall day where it's 35 or 40 degrees, no inclement weather. And for most part, 2/3 of the football season, even more, is like that. It's either, you start out, it's 70 or 80 degrees up here. So most of the football season up north is played in pretty good conditions. It's
Right.
at the end that it gets a little funky.
That things do deteriorate. Mark Simpson, Georgia or Alabama would not survive in sub-zero temperatures. I don't know. That defensive line of Georgia looks like that would pretty much thrive wherever they're playing football at. That was some men out there playing. What do you got, Sam?
When does Michigan or any up north teams play in sub-zero degree temperatures?
Yeah, never. That's what we're talking about right now. The Big Ten themselves even play indoors, so that's where it is. Juices Goats. That's why I always talk about November as football weather. So it's where it is tonight. Georgia, Alabama. It's a big game for Kirby Smart. He's got to prove he can win the big one. So I'll be watching. T-Foss will be watching. Some of you won't. The scorned Michigan fans probably. There's a faction of them that won't be watching. Sam will. Sam's going to be watching with his Michigan Big Ten championship
baby boy,
sweatshirt
be
on.
honest, Samuel. If that game against Georgia was played in Michigan, and maybe not Ann Arbor, let's say it was played in Chicago or outdoors in Detroit, do you think Michigan would have a chance against Georgia, that they would beat them?
No. I mean, honestly, that Georgia was the better team, and especially on in bad weather, because they actually controlled the line of scrimmage the whole time. It might have even been worse, honestly.
Right. And maybe the poor little Michigan players, if they had thrown them in the snow, they couldn't get up again. So it may have been worse.
We're making progress here. One Funky Lions fan. Neil, my problem's with the system, but figured if you could have fun with an Indianapolis Colts fans, why not have fun too? See, there you go. That's what we're doing. It's again, finally, for once, it wasn't the Lions that got stole on. For once. Black Monday today in the NFL as well. NFL coaches have been shown the door. A lot of them today. So most of them, you kind of saw the writing on the wall. Matt Nagy for the Bears let go. Mike Zimmer for the Vikings and that clown show was let go. Vic Fangio for the Broncos. That was a little bit surprising because I think the Broncos are a quarterback away from being a real factor in the AFC. Obviously, Urban Meyer let go from the Jaguars. John Gruden resigned from the Raiders. Joe Judge, though, the Giants coach, I guess he's sticking around. So, as much as some of them were expected, I think the biggest surprise was Brian Flores getting let go as the Dolphins coach. He was 24-25 in 3 seasons with the Dolphins. That will make you one of the greatest coaches in the history of the Lions franchise.
No, that's true. Unless your boy was up for a job, then 9-7 is not good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. But, as you look at it, Terry, most of those names were really expected. So, no great surprises other than Flores.
No, but, Matt Nagy needed to go in Chicago. And, if you can't figure out the quarterback situation, if you got turmoil on the team, if you show outright you don't know what you're doing, then at some point, yeah, you gotta move on.
No, it is, and we'll see what happens. Austin says, watch the Bears and the Vikings will have better records than us next year with new coaches, because it goes back to what I said about for the Lions next year. We had a question earlier. Mark Simpson said, will the Lions be any better next year or the same? There's a twofold attack. Again, I'll just reiterate it, Terry. Draft picks this year, salary cap fixing next year. So, as far as the Lions are concerned, yeah, the Vikings and the Bears probably will have a better record, just given the salary cap situation for the Lions.
But the Lions will be better next year.
They will.
Probably not playoff better, but they'll be better.
Which is why I had such high value of the draft pick situation, because just based on their offensive line alone, Terry, their offensive line alone, they will be better next year. They will be better. You would figure they're not going to be as injured. That's usually the way that works.
They can run year together.
They run the football. Mm-hmm. That's proven. They can run. It doesn't matter who the running back is. They've been able to run the football at times this season through all the losses.
And Penei Sewell told Aaron Donald, I'm not your bitch. So there.
Which I like. Oh, man, I like that stuff.
Yeah.
Going right at the dudes. That was big to me when he did that. So, I think the Lions will be better just based on the fact that they'll be healthy from an offensive line standpoint. And again, you're gonna have some pain. You just are financially next year. Trey Flowers has a potential out in 2022. He would be $12.8 million dead cap hit if you cut him next year.
Right. And what fans must understand, even though I think they are on the right path, you've got to put up with 2 or 3 years of garbage before this thing is going to be decent.
Right, because it's not fantasy football where you roll into a draft and you plug your holes with, rookies and things like that. The Brad Holmes hit rate, I think, on the last draft was the exception, not the rule. Just the overall, just how solid a lot of those guys were. The
he's
fact
going
that
to
they
get
contributed.
higher draft picks this year, so maybe he'll hit the same.
Yeah, so I mean, a guy like Trey Flowers become much more cuttable in 2023. It's a $5.6 million dead cap hit. Like that's what it is, guys, and you got to deal with that because, again, is he the future? Is he even the current? What do you expect out of him right now?
Another guy that may not survive, and who's been decent, Hawkinson. That may be a guy where you're like, oh boy, he can play a little bit, but is he worth that money? It's another guy you may have to, not this year, but get rid of him at some point.
But those are the things that are on the horizon, then, Terry. And somebody earlier in the YouTube chat thread asked this question, where, as far as the Lions go, what are they going to do about the quarterback spot? Because you're not going to have the draft pick. You assume, I assume, next year you're probably checking in around 10 or something like that. You don't have that high-level draft pick where you can take a quarterback where a Bryce Young's available. Now watch Bryce Young spin it tonight for 440 and 5 touchdowns, and watch that happen.
But they miss out on the quarterback draft where you could get guys late in the first round. Maybe in 2023 or 24 you'll get another batch of quality quarterbacks that you could pick up at 10.
Right.
You got to keep your fingers crossed.
AC, Neil, is Harbaugh leaving? The Dolphins are owned by Stephen Ross. And we were kind of kicking this around the Woodward Sports offices early. The Flores firing was surprising, unless, or as my good friend Terry Foster likes to say, however, they may feel that there's an upgrade available, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Stephen Ross is a big Michigan fan. I'm sure he loves Harbaugh.
Right.
So maybe they got rid of Flores because they feel they got a shot at Harbaugh. Now, I don't know if he's leaving. That's the big mystery because Jim Harbaugh is a very private guy. There's certain coaches and certain players you can read. I mean, they might say one thing, but they're thinking somewhere else. Jim Harbaugh, you cannot figure this guy out. So, I don't know if he's leaving, but I think there's a shot. But I've always thought if he was leaving, he would go to the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
Because, it's a renegade program, and, they don't give a damn, so.
Right. So, and there's a lot of discussion, too, about T.J. Hawkinson in our YouTube chat thread. AC says, I can see Brad Holmes ripping off a team in a Hawk trade, and I don't know, because if Terry Foster has these questions, if I have these questions, if you have these questions, I'm sure a lot of NFL people have these questions also.
Is he going to become Kerry Kittle?
Keith Van Horn?
Right. Is he going to become Gronkowski? Or, if you think that's what he's going to become, I'd roll the dice and keep him.
Yeah.
But I can't guarantee you that.
Robert says, Jesus Christ, T-Foss, Hawk ain't going anywhere. Dan Campbell's a tight end. I don't think that has a lot to do with it.
No, that has nothing to do with things.
YT Sparty says, definitely don't pay Hawk. And the sentiment's turning with that. With the T.J. Hawkinson thing. You notice that over the course of the last couple weeks?
Yes.
The public sentiment, the Lions fan sentiment's really turning.
People haven't seen him.
Right. No, it is. It's incredible the way that sentiment has turned. We'll take a break. When we come back, we got some more NFL discussion. The Red Wings lost in Anaheim last night in a shootout. Couple of injuries in that game. I don't have any updates, as far as the Bertuzzi and the Larkin situation. I saw a couple of you asking about that. I haven't heard of anything as far as what the story is. I know they're still out there on their road trip. Some news. We'll probably get some news on that a little bit later on today. Pistons made a trade. Bol Bol was acquired from the Denver Nuggets. Very low-risk move for the Pistons. Didn't have a huge issue with that. Rodney Magruder in a second-round pick. That's basically
No, it's
nothing.
not. But I've always disliked Bol Bol.
Why is that?
Because he can't play. That's why.
But you know what's funny about him? He's a highlight show darling, though. Because when the plays he makes, they're very visually appealing. Like it looks
you got to
fluid.
wait a month to see him.
Well, he's
a shot blocker, and sometimes valuable guys. If they can protect the rim, that's important. Like Manute Bol. Was Manute Bol a great offensive player? No. Mark Eaton was
Sean Bradley.
Right. Neither one of them could play, but they protected the rim.
And there is something to be said for that. So we'll touch on that a little bit. Got a couple of other NFL things to clean up. Story time with Terry Foster. Man, the vote's exploding on this. The Charles Barkley story talking about Manute Bol's feet that Terry Foster wants to tell you says is very funny, 43%. Terry almost dying at the Olympics, 57%.
I think I know where we're going.
I think I know where we're going. Get those votes in because Sawyer just arbitrarily cuts that off from time to time. We'll be back with more Big D Energy right here, Woodward Sports Network.
Everything that we've hoped for, finally.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brandon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
It's all happening now.
Opinions are like ear holes, and we're putting ours in yours.
Well, that's not winning, Joy.
It's Woodward Sports.
Coming on a stretch here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule. He's T. Foss, Terry Foster, Sam, and Sawyer in the house as well. Follow Woodward Sports Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitch. Don't forget about the podcast page as well on iTunes and the Google Play Store. Subscribe to the Big D Energy podcast. Goes right to your phone. Download it right away. Rewind, fast forward, do whatever you want. Listen to Terry Foster say that he wants me to shut up. Whatever you guys want to do with it, feel free to go ahead. My check's going to clear nonetheless, Terry.
When I tell you to shut up, I don't really mean for you to shut up. I just mean for you to chill.
Chuck Brew, I disagree with you, Neil. The trade is not low risk. It's no risk. Got rid of a point guard that only gets in the way of Saban Lee and the other kids. Yeah, and you're tossing out a second-round pick that doesn't really mean a heck of a lot to you. The multiple second-round picks. It's actually the Brooklyn Nets second-round pick. So.
Yeah, the Free Press called it a risk, and I'm like, well, why? It's not a risk.
No, there was no risk whatsoever. Probably because Manute Bol is going to be in that unrestricted free agent range next year.
Bol.
Yeah.
Manute has retired.
Manute is his father. Bol Bol is coming up to his unrestricted free agency list. But you know what? The Pistons are 8-30. Throw them out there and see what happens, man. Mm-hmm. Maybe you stumble into something, or maybe you don't, and then you just move on.
Maybe you don't give up 140 points a game anymore. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, and that seems to be the consensus, too. AC says Caden Ball will be a good combo. Matt Carrier, cheap contract. Why not? D. Smitty, Pistons need a rim protector. So, who knows? Chuck says that he echoes that sentiment, too. It's a Nets pick, which is at the end of the second round. Which, yeah, there's basically nothing on the Pistons' end that they're risking. And whatever happens, happens. So, Jason Parkinson, Harbaugh beat Ohio State one time. Now all we hear is that he's leaving. If his character is what he says it is, he's just getting started at U of M. He knows the talent he currently has. This is all media-driven, in my opinion. You know what? For me, Terry, and there were stories surfacing when he tells a recruit that I will listen to what NFL teams have to say. That says a lot, that it's just not quote-unquote media-driven, if that's true.
Right, but people read it in the media, so they call it media-driven.
Yeah, which is fair.
And it doesn't mean he's leaving. It means, hey, I'm going to entertain offers.
Yeah. Neil, thoughts on Michigan dodging Michigan State basketball? What's your take on that? I know there's been a lot of discussion about that, but you got to look around the country and all the games that have been canceled. The Pac-12's really got a COVID issue going on right now. I don't think they were ducking them.
No, I don't think they were ducking either. But I will say this: I think the current COVID stuff is really overblown. We have this variant that's been weakened from what we had a year ago. And if you're vaccinated, people aren't even getting sick. In fact, people don't even know they have COVID. But if you test positive for it, you can't play, you can't go outside, you can't interact with anybody. But it seems this variant is maybe a severe cold. When have we in this country said, okay, you have a cold, you can't go anywhere? People used to go to work with colds, and they should, and probably you shouldn't do it because you could pass it along. But I just think, shutting down the sports world, shutting down restaurants, staying in the house, hiding, in today's Omicron environment, it may not be the smartest thing. I understand we have to be careful, and I want to be cautious and everything, but I think this variant is, we're overblowing things with this variant.
And I guess I would have to be consistent, too, to where I said this with the NFL when games were starting to get canceled and all that stuff. Why are we testing vaccinated players that are showing no symptoms?
Right.
Why are we doing it? How about you just stop testing them? Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the impact with the players' union or those types of things are. I don't know how it's spelled out and everything like that. But I was of the opinion, and look, I get it, and I'm respectful of it, and I understand everything that's going on, but they're different. NFL players, multi-million-dollar contracts, billion-dollar television deals. It's different, Terry. That's just the time and space we're in.
But if you're vaccinated and you're not making other vaccinated players sick, why are we shutting it down?
Right.
Why are we telling you can't play? And maybe, everything has collateral damage. Maybe the collateral damage is with people who are not vaccinated. So I say let them play. And but I do not believe Michigan was ducking Michigan State.
I don't think so either.
Michigan was accused of ducking Ohio State in football a couple last year, and now supposedly they're ducking Michigan State and Purdue.
Right.
Because they're not going to play with them.
Yeah, so it's just where, and if you're Michigan, and look, I know firsthand because we saw it with Oakland on Friday. We had a game against Green Bay, a Horizon League game that was postponed, that was canceled because Green Bay had positive COVID cases, so they couldn't travel.
Now, didn't you play Southfield Christian High School or something like that?
No, we played Ohio Christian University.
Oh, I got that wrong.
Ohio Christian University,
Christian High,
an NAIA school out of Ohio. Come to find out of Circleville, Ohio, where they have a very large pumpkin fest.
Oh, I love pumpkin fest.
Yes. And the biggest pumpkin that won was 1,850 pounds. I tweeted out a picture of it during the broadcast.
Did they bring it to the game?
No, they did not bring it to the game. It was too heavy, Terry.
Now, what was it? Oakland minus 76?
Oakland, I think it was 106-40 or something like that. That Oakland won. But I'm saying though, just from the standpoint of this, we had to get that game. We had to play it because you have to. I believe it's 24 games you have to play to be eligible to play in the NCAA tournament. There is a floor.
Now, did you have to call that game, or did they give you the day off?
No, I had to call it. Well, that plays into it too, Terry. With what I'm talking about, we have TV contracts with ESPN. We have to deliver that content. We need the advertising money. We sold tickets for that day. We need the ticket revenue. Like that. These are factors, guys. Like I don't bury my head in the sand and pretend that this stuff doesn't happen because it does. We have to deliver on that television contract. Did you get bored during the game? Did I get bored? We had fun. We talked about Pumpkin Fest a little bit. We start talking about some other things.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, we start talking about some other things. But it's something for Michigan is going to face those same types of challenges where if you want to be tournament eligible, you got to get to 24 games somehow.
Right.
And now that's starting to become in question because of the amount of games that are going to be canceled. So I don't think Michigan was ducking Michigan State at all because teams need games to be eligible.
Right. And plus, what's the fear? Okay, so you're playing Michigan State and you think you're going to lose. What's the big deal? You know what I'm saying? Still entertaining evening for your fans. It's a home game. If anything, if they're going to duck Michigan State, it'll be the game at Breslin.
Yeah. Rack says, Neil, didn't the Oakland women's team play with 6 players? Yes. Thursday night they played at Fort Wayne with 6 players and won.
But their rules are different. They can play with 6 players.
Right.
Michigan,
7 scholarship players
Right.
they need available.
And a coach.
Yep. So, that's what it was.
So that's on the NCAA. That's not on Michigan.
Right. and that's the thing. Joey 2 times. Yes, the COVID can't affect you if you stop paying attention to it argument. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying for the general population, yes, we are still living through this and everything like that. There's no question about that. I'm saying, though, for the National Football League that has to deliver on $1 billion television contract, if you have guys that are sitting out that are asymptomatic, what's the problem? My question is, why are you testing vaccinated, boosted guys that aren't showing any symptoms?
Right. Guys, I think we're all being taken for fools. You are, I am, Sawyer, Sammy. Here's what I found out. During certain bowls, we got too many guys out, so we can't play in this bowl game. And usually the bowls are like peripheral bowls that we really don't care about. Have you noticed? Nobody that I know has tested positive in the semifinal games.
It's really weird, huh?
It's really, nobody. So, in other words, it just so happens if you're playing the college football semifinal,
it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist, right? COVID doesn't exist. But if you're playing the Arizona Bowl, oh boy, shutting it down.
Well, see, there you go. Yeah,
and the Sun Bowl, and I think we're being played for fools.
No, and that's where it is. So there you have it. You're right. If we don't pay attention to it, it goes away.
Bam.
So your point was proven as true. We'll take our final break. When we come back, the poll has been shut down in a runaway. Story time with Terry Foster. The time Terry almost died at the Olympics. We'll have that when we come back. It's Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. And look, Guardian Alarm gets it. Good defense on and off the field can help you feel secure. Guardian Alarm, state-of-the-art technology. Check in on your home, control the lights, control the temperatures, smoke, carbon monoxide, detect that, all of it. Guardian Alarm has you covered. It'll even let you lock and unlock your doors right from your phone. Want to get down? Want to get involved? Guardian Alarm? Call 1-800.
Stay out.
That is 1-800.
Stay out.
Guardian Alarm's been trusted for over 90 years at keeping families safe. What are you waiting for? Do you want to feel safe? Call Guardian Alarm. 1-800.
Stay out.
Get out of my house.
Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it. Spin. Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
The pros know. Go! Listen Monday through Friday for Big D Energy live on the Woodward Sports Network with Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the silky voice of Neil Rule.
The time you've all waited for here on Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, Terry Foster. Breaking news, the Detroit Lions have parted ways with offensive coordinator Anthony Lynn.
Ooh, that's a shocker.
Which I thought they did that back in October.
Right.
Like when you're the offensive coordinator and they say, hey, you're not calling the plays anymore, like, what's your day-to-day like then? That's kind of my question.
Hey, you getting people coffee.
Absolutely.
That's still important.
Story time with Terry Foster, 57% of a record number of votes, by the way. And the story time with Terry Foster, we were pushing close to 300, I believe.
All right,
so
I love that.
It's getting in there. Terry, people want to hear about the time you almost died at the Olympics.
Okay, I was covering the Atlanta Olympic Games. I think it was 1992, and when you cover the Olympics, they work your ass off. Had to cover a couple events, and it's hot down in Atlanta. It's hard to get to the different venues. So afterwards, I was dead tired, and they have a concert every night at the Olympics. So I was standing there with my colleague, Bob Wolnowski, Wojo, as some of you know, and we were just talking. I'm like, dude, I'm hot, tired, and irritable, and I'm hungry. He said, yeah, let's go get something to eat. So we left the concert and went to the underground and went to Johnny Rockets.
Oh, yeah.
Had
Familiar.
double cheeseburgers, fries, Coke, and probably a milkshake because I was so tired. So afterwards, we went there and we walked around, and then we went back to our hotels. And to the hotel, they had media shuttles there. So when I got to my room, the light in my room was blinking, and so I picked up to see how many messages I have. I didn't have a cell phone, and it was 13 messages. I'm like, damn, what the hell happened? So I thought the paper was mad about something, but it was from my aunt, I think girlfriend at the time, and some other people. So are you okay? And I'm like, so I called them back. Yeah, what happened? They said, well, there was a bombing at the Olympics, and the bombing was right where we were. And I saw the little garbage can that wasn't too far from the stage. And I called Bol and said, dude, we were right there. He said, yeah. I said, thank God we were hungry. You know, I don't know if we would have died. There's a possibility, but at the very least we would have shrapnel on our legs because I was wearing shorts and everything because I was hot. But we were right there for that Olympic bombing.
Damn.
That they had down there.
What was the time? Do you know what the time frame was when it went off to when you guys had left?
I think we missed it by about 12 minutes.
This isn't like I was there this morning or something like that. Like 12 minutes.
Yeah. And the only reason we left, my stomach was grumbling. We were enjoying the concert, and normally I would stay there the whole night because I like music and it's outdoors, and by then it had cooled off a little bit. But my stomach was like, dude, you better get something in my stomach or else I'm going to protest. So that's the only reason we left is because we were hungry. And, you know, Woj, you can always talk him into
going to
food.
Eat.
Right. So we went there and we missed it by 12 minutes.
Rich Diana says they still haven't caught that bomber, have they?
No, they blame somebody else.
Man, everybody can't believe it. Wild. Wow. That's crazy. That 12 minutes.
It was 12 minutes.
You're standing by the garbage. I'd never heard that story before. That is incredible.
And then a lady near us died. And then somebody else had a heart attack.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was crazy. And I didn't know what was going on, but, you know, that was before cell phones, and we didn't check the news.
See, and people are like, how could you know? That was a different time. Like, you didn't get an alert on your phone when something happened. Like, you had to go back to your room.
Now your phone would say, oh, there's a bombing at also, oh, shoot. We didn't get that.
Yeah. That is incredible, man. Somebody said in a YouTube chat thread they have to pick up TJ Hawkinson's fifth-year option by May 3rd. They're still going to do that. They're saying you might want to trade him during the draft or whatever. No, because, I mean, dollar for dollar, Hawkinson at $3.4 million for a season.
That's good.
Yeah, it's still a relatively good price. They'll pick up that option to where, I guess what it comes down to with Hawk is he worth more to have and pay him that amount of money, or does he fetch you more dollar for dollar in the trade market, which I suspect it's worth more to keep him at that amount of money.
No, it is. But, you know, you have to do your due diligence. Maybe people are willing to give up too much, and you take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Hawkinson is a valuable commodity to have.
Yeah. Cam asked, did you have a pager at the time?
Mm-mm.
No?
No pager?
A pager. These kids won't know about having the beeper.
Yeah, back in the day, we didn't have pagers. I tell you what, I used to have a pager. It was a little black box, and people would page you like one sentence or something. But, it was a different world. We didn't have pagers, cell phones. And then the first cell phones were in these boxes, and you had to carry it around, and you would ruin your shoulders because they were so heavy. And then the second cell phone, you didn't get good reception. So when you were driving around, you'd put a big antenna on top of your car, and they would drill a hole in the car and put the antenna on there. That's how you got your cell phone service. Y'all lucky.
Back in my day, AC wants to know if you still have a VCR, boss.
No, because I have Comcast, and you get all your movies and stuff right there.
Yep. I remember my first cell phone contract. I had like 20 monthly minutes.
Oh, really?
Whatever.
Oh, here's something I did. I joined a video club. And this is a ripoff. You know how Blockbuster?
Yeah.
Before Blockbuster, people would just buy a bunch of movies and just put them in a shop. I had to pay $400 to join the stupid video club so I could rent movies. I feel like a fool.
You had to pay a cover.
Yeah, it's like a cover charge.
It was a cover charge. That'll wrap things up for today's show. Sawyer, do you feel better about the Colts at all, that we talked it out a little bit, or not?
A little bit. After hearing about the $400 DVD club, I feel a little better, yeah.
And
That's
missing
crazy.
a bomb going off by 12 minutes kind of gives you some perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, makes you thankful for sure.
Yeah, one day, Sawyer, I'm going to tell you about 8-track tapes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I'm here for it.
You guys enjoy the national championship game tonight. It's a Monday night. Yeah, a lot of people that say you aren't going to watch it, you're going to see the lack of options, and you're going to turn
They'll
it on.
still watch it.
Yeah, you're still going to watch it. I'm going to watch it. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. All that and more for Terry Foster, Sawyer, and Sam. My name is Neil Rule. Thanks for watching Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Well, see you later.
Gang, gang. Gang, gang.